partner, Mehzad, who's going to be the host for the day today. Over to you,
Hello,
Mehzad.
everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm a cybersecurity researcher, programmer, hacker, and penetration tester. So what we are going to show you today, we want to explain what is malware, how they interact with the systems, and what is a real-world attack.
Yeah. A little bit about me. I'm a cybersecurity researcher and ethical hacker, and I'm a partner at ProteqMe. And today I'm going to be taking you guys through the presentation along with Babak and Firozi. Okay. Over to you, Firozi.
Thank you very much. So moving on, what we'd like to do is very quickly, we stay tuned till the end because we're going to show you a live attack on what happens when you get attacked using malwares by the fraudsters or by the cyber criminals. So what we're going to talk about, the focus today is going to be on malware. Watch out because we are going to have a series of events. So the next event, we're going to talk about the next threat and the other pivoting risks in the cyberspace. Babak, if you'd just like to clarify as to what malware is and why is it important for people today on the session to understand what malware is and the attacks that can, the impact that it can cause if they're attacked by the wrong kinds of people.
So malwares are malicious softwares. They are softwares with bad intentions. Let's say people make some softwares for good intentions, but hackers, black hat hackers, of course, make malwares in order to hack into the systems, into the mobile phones, into the IoT devices. So any software or code that is built for malicious intention is called malware. Okay, malwares are mostly used by hackers in order to hack systems, as I said. So what is the intention? There are different intentions for such a thing. Hackers try to steal money, for example, from a company, or hackers want to steal information. Okay, so when a malware is built, it is very important to know how malware is working in order to defend yourself. That is why we are going through this presentation.
Right. So just a quick question over here. So if I'm an individual, and obviously I'll be working for a company, but if I'm an individual and I have a mobile phone, do you see me as being vulnerable to any kind of malware threats? Or is it just, I need to be careful about certain things that you would highlight later in the session?
Sure, of course, anyone can be the target of malwares. So we have, for example, botnets as well. Botnets, we will go through it later in later slides. But I want to say something. Companies, individuals, anyone, mobile phones, any device can be vulnerable to attacks of the malwares. So when they write down a code and when they make a software for a malware, which can be called virus, worms, Trojans, or whatever, they can deliver it through different ways, which we will explain about them.
Firozi, can you go on to the next slide?
So one of
Right.
let me go through the different kind of malwares. We have many kind of malwares. One of them is adware. What is adware? Adware is a software that displays on your screen when you are surfing the internet. Okay, so just like pop-ups, for example, or advertising pop-ups. Adwares will use browsers vulnerabilities in order to exploit your system, to infect your system. They will download malwares from a cloud server of a hacker and run it on your system. How they can do that? When you interact with a pop-up on your browser, for example, when you open up a website, a pop-up comes up. When you see the pop-up, you try to close it. As soon as you press the close button, the malware code will use vulnerabilities on your browser in order to download the malware from a cloud server and run it on your system. As soon as the malware runs on your system, you will be connected to the hacker server, and the server has full control of your system. This is the way that adwares work.
Yeah. Babak, have you seen a recent increase in adware because of COVID or malware in general because of COVID?
Yes, of course, because many companies are getting online. Many individuals are using online internet for their works, their jobs. Nowadays, these kind of attacks are growing.
Okay. Yeah, because we have seen a recent trend where a lot of them are using phishing campaigns to spread malware, and that's actually risen a lot due to COVID. Some
Yes,
would
of
argue,
course. But look, I agree, phishings are increasing, but adwares that we were talking about are being used by hackers these days mostly. For example, they try to exploit a website, okay? They find an XSS, a cross-site scripting vulnerability on the website. They try to inject some codes in the pop-up, even a legitimate pop-up of that company. So you can't understand even what you are facing to. You just try to close it. When you close it, something happens at the back end. You don't see anything at all. Okay, that is
So
why
Babak,
it is very important. I just wanted to mention this. It is very important to have an updated antivirus on your system these days. When you try to use internet, that is very important to use VPNs, for example.
yeah,
Yes.
makes a lot of sense. Yes.
so I have a
Which is VPN that you would suggest?
Well, there are many VPNs online. I'm not going to suggest one because we are not advertising anything. But you should buy your VPN from a legitimate company. You can just search on Google to find a legitimate one. There are comments about VPNs.
And I have a quick question. So, as an individual, Babak, because obviously a lot of us today are surfing the net and we do a lot of online purchases. So, pop ups are inevitable, right? Everybody is collecting data. Most websites today are collecting data. So, if I don't know and if I cannot verify that this pop up has or doesn't have a malware and I don't want to become a victim, are there ways of protecting myself and securing myself or identifying that this pop up would have a malware?
Yes, of course. Again, if you are running a system that has an updated antivirus, the antiviruses can detect those pop-ups, and even you can disable pop-ups on your browser. So most of the browsers nowadays have advertising disabled or pop-up disabled by default. So you just need to be careful what you are doing and what you are clicking. So as a def, as and now let's get to another kind of malware, which is botnets. So botnets are very complicated malwares. They make a network, as you can see on the structure of a botnet, the schematic diagram. The hacker sits at a command and control server. Then they have infected many systems. Those systems make a network and communicate with the hacker. So those systems, those infected network includes many number of infected devices that malware can control them. Okay, so botnets are just like a network of malwares which has infected many clients, and those clients are connected to one server that is under control of an attacker.
And these clients would be corporates or individuals as well, or both.
They can target anybody, different kind of purposes. For example, they will put we call it spreading malware. Okay, the hackers try to spread their malware through people, so individuals will be infected. After that, those individuals will be infected. They use their system in order to spam others, in order to hack other systems by those systems. So they cover their track by this, and they try to different kind of attacks, which we will explain later. We can call DDoS attacks, for example. Look at here. Look at the diagram here. Here we have a bot master, which is the attacker, okay? They have a command and control server, which those infected clients are connected to that command and control server. So via that, they can command each client to do something. They select a target victim. Let's say they are going to bring down Microsoft website, Microsoft.com website, okay? So what they start to do is they ask their clients, their infected clients, to ping one server, which is Microsoft.com. Imagine 2 million clients send requests to that server. So the server will be out of service this way. This is called denial of service also.
Right.
Okay. All right.
So can we go to the next slide? Yeah, here. Again, as I said, this is another purpose of botnets. Attacker will control those clients in order to send spam anywhere they want. For instance, they have 1,000 clients on their network, infected clients. They will use those devices, no matter mobile phone, no matter laptop, or no matter servers either. They will use those devices in order to send spam emails from those infected devices to another devices in order to phish them, for example, to perform a phishing attack.
So, just a quick one, because I have a lot of my friends also and my acquaintance who receive constantly these spam mails, right? And a lot of times, genuine mails also are classified as spam and they go into the spam folder. So, as an individual who's maybe using either a company laptop or my own personal laptop, how can I verify, or will we be talking about how do you identify between a genuine spam mail, which could be bugged or, which could have a virus, versus something that has been classified by, let's say, the system as a spam mail? Is there a way of
So
distinguishing?
nowadays, most of the email servers has some spam protection. So they will send those spams into your spam folder. Okay. But you may see some spams that gets into your inbox. That is
Yeah.
very important. Before you open up that email, you think that if you have asked for something or not. This is very important. If,
Right.
for example, if someone sends you an invitation for somewhere, or someone sends you that you have won this prize, so you haven't asked for that email. This is very important to understand, that if you don't ask someone to send you email, so this might be a spam. Do not click on something.
Right. And I have another question. So, how can spamming lead to mass identity theft? Because the people believe that identity theft is more around when you get somebody's personal credentials, right? Like
Yes.
your passport copy or your ID document or something like that. So, how can spamming lead to identity theft? Because I think that's really critical for our participants to understand as individuals that, it's about protecting themselves and their loved ones. Correct?
Correct. So we have seen some of those spams that includes they ask you some information in that spam. For example, they say you, okay, if you send us your name, your family, your credit card number, or whatever information. Uh, this is this is exactly what you mentioned. Those spams try to get information. Even they can gather up information from your browser, so they can understand which browser you're using, like Chrome, like Firefox, or whatever. And when you reply to those spams, when you try to even open up that spam, they may have some vulnerable code in order to steal your information from your browser, cookies, Those information can be any kind of information. It's not just like questioning you about answering something.
Right.
Even if
So
you open up an email, you may be infected with some browser hijackers. So those browser hijackers scripts can hijack your cookies.
right. So Babak, we do have a lot of questions coming in about network and about VPN and stuff like that. So we'll cover that at the end. I don't
Yes,
want to
of
disturb
course.
your so you can continue for now.
Okay, so when it comes to different kinds of bots, let's say in botnets, we will see that those botnets try to do some actions on the infected systems. Again, one of those actions are keylogging, for example. Okay, what is keylogging? You may have heard about keyloggers. Keyloggers are malicious softwares which try to record all your keyboard logging that you are using. For example, you are typing something on your keyboard, your username, your password, whatever. They try to log it somewhere on your system and send it via your network to the hacker so they can understand what you have typed. For example, if you type gmail.com and then you use your username and password in order to log in, those recorders will send this information to the hacker so the hacker can understand what is your credentials. Another way that botnets use for their bad intentions is pay per click abuse. We all know that there are some websites that give you money for pay per click. So those botnets will run something on their infected clients in order to do the clicking as well, in order to gain money from the website. These
Okay.
botnets will be used not only to infect but to spread. Remember, I told you that the clients can send email also when the controller will send the command, the hacker. So they can spread botnets again from themselves, replicate it as soon as they send email to other people. And we have crypto mining, which is very new these years. We know that Bitcoin is raising up, the price is getting high. So we have something that hackers can use scripts in order to make your browser mine cryptocurrency. Okay, so again, imagine thousands of people are infected by your botnet. So when the hacker send that script to the browsers of that thousands of people, the mining starts. And imagine how big is the price of how big is the uh, benefit for the hacker.
Right. So I just wanted to understand because if people are laymen, that don't come from the cyber world and they don't understand, what crypto mining is and stuff like that, is there something where in a dedicated session you would be able to explain those criterias and what they should be looking out for?
Yes, of course, they can ask after the presentation. I will answer.
Okay.
So I think I talked about crypto mining malwares, Merzad. Again, if I want to mention something that's very important, again, you have heard about public Wi-Fi's. When you go to a coffee shop or cafe bar or whatever, you use public Wi-Fi. So those public Wi-Fi's can be infected with hackers scripts in order to mine cryptocurrency by your browser, even if you are using a mobile phone. So again, using VPN is very important when you're dealing with public Wi-Fi's.
Right. Okay. So how does that then differ from the next one, which is the fileless malware? Because I think today a lot of people are only focusing on attachments and files that come in the mail.
Yes, look, fileless malwares are just spreading themselves like phishing attacks, like other malwares. So they send you an email. When you open up the email, the only difference is fileless malwares doesn't have a file to run. So you are not confronting file to download and run it. They use your system softwares. For example, they use PowerShell on your Windows. PowerShell is a scripting language that administrations use, and in all of the Windows, it is pre-installed. So they use that PowerShell script in order to load the malware or download the malware from the cloud server and run it on the system. This is called fileless malware because there is no file to download on your system and run. It will abuse your system scripting, your system programs in order to run malware.
So, Babak, if I have an antivirus installed on my laptop, for example, does that make me safe from all of these cyber attacks?
If you don't have any antivirus installed, unfortunately, you are facing to many attacks and you will get hacked for sure.
And what if I have the antivirus? Then am I safe? Then will these attack me? Will these
No,
attacks still affect me?
again, hackers have some tricks that they can bypass or evade antiviruses. So we call it obfuscation. Obfuscation is the action of changing code of the malware in a way that antiviruses cannot recognize it. Okay, in a very
Right.
simple explanation, it is more obfuscate. It is more complex than what I said, but for just our audience, obfuscation code is changing the code in a way that those programs, those antivirus uh, machines cannot read the signature and cannot detect the malware.
Right. And coming to our next topic on ransomware, I know that it's very rampant in the corporate world where lots of organizations are held to ransomware because of the data that they hold. Uh, can you maybe shed a little light about the growing trends around that? And how does that ransomware then impact us as individuals in our personal lives? So if I'm, let's say my personal account has gotten hacked and I have nothing to do with the company, then so there are two questions here. How does that impact as a growth for the organizations and to me as an individual for my personal data, for example, if I have nothing to hide, right? And somebody
Yeah,
hacks
of
me.
course.
So what's the
I just want to mention ransomwares are those kind of malwares that tries to encrypt the data on the infected machine. Mostly ransomwares target companies. Happily, individuals are less likely to get infected by ransomware, but it is not. It doesn't mean that you, as an individual, are not facing to ransomwares. Ransomwares try to encrypt all of your data with a password. Okay, the password is at the hand of the hacker. So they ask you to pay money in order to decrypt your data. Okay, can you go to the next slide,
So,
Mirza?
Babak, I
Yeah,
have a question. What if there is a ransomware that's held my computer captive? And actually,
sorry,
this question,
I
I have a
couldn't
question,
hear you.
right? I have a question here, and this is not my question. This is a question that came in one of our past trainings by an attendee, right? That what if a ransomware has taken over my computer captive, and to deal with it, I just switch my computer off? Is that a good way to deal with ransomware? What do you think?
Well, if you understand that a ransomware has infected you, it is late to do something
Right.
unless you have a backup of your data. So what I suggest is that you try to always take a backup of your data, put it somewhere on the cloud servers, like Google Drive or Mega.nz or whatever, or take a backup on your external hard drive at least, and try not to plug your hard drive daily into your system. Okay.
So, Babak, I have another question because this came up in one of our previous sessions also. That if you upload your data on cloud, can that get hacked? Is that prone to getting
Well, no
hacked?
one can guarantee that your data protection is okay with them. For example, Google has been hacked during these years many times, even Microsoft. But you should rely on someone. You cannot do that. You should you should do something with your data. At least you can buy an external heart for yourself, you know?
There's another question that also came up in one of our previous sessions because a couple of people, apparently, like Mezad described, their system kind of got shut down and there was a big beeping sound. And then they got a notification saying, if you want to fix it, you can call this number. And we're calling from Microsoft,
This is
right?
ransomware again, yeah.
Yes. And they didn't realize that they'd actually paid the ransomware, but they actually paid that amount, the $500 or $1,000. They gave access to their laptop for the company to actually get in and clean it up, so-called cleaning up activity. And obviously they were completely prone to, vulnerable with all their data and everything, that they kind of surrendered to the hackers, right? But they didn't know at the time that they were being victimized. Correct?
Yes,
So
correct.
how do you decide whether they're genuinely Microsoft that's locking you down, or is it the hackers that's holding you at ransomware?
Well, for individuals, that is not very important again to get infected by ransomwares. Most of the people has their backup somewhere else, as far as I know. But for companies, they should not pay for that. They should have taken the precaution actions before they get to that trouble.
Also, just to throw it in here, if this does happen to you, it's better to go to Microsoft's official website and call someone from there instead of calling the number that you're provided with.
Most of the time, they cannot help you. Believe me, if the ransomware is new, they don't have anything for that. Yes, we can see Kaspersky Sky has many decrypting ransomware tools you can download, but if something new comes up, there is no way to deal with it. At least until they found a way for that.
Right. No, because in this case, I think people were not even sure that they were held to ransomware, or, they were scammed, basically. They just thought that it was Microsoft who had shut them down because
So
the laptop had completely been shut
they
down.
can check. They can check if they can access to their system. You know, you can check. You can shut down your Wi-Fi. You can try to browse your computer to see if your files are healthy.
Right. Okay. So do you want
Okay.
to talk a little bit about the how ransomware works? Are we done with this?
So ransomwares will try to let me explain it from the diagram. So again, we have a command and control server by the attacker. So the victim will be infected by a malware. Let's say this time it is a ransomware. So that malware tries to encrypt all of your data at the back end. I mean, you cannot see it. It is encrypting your data. You will see a very high activity on your CPU, maybe, but as soon as the data gets encrypted, they will be sent to the server which is under control of the attacker. Okay? So the attacker will ask you to pay for some money, mostly in cryptocurrency. Let's say all in cryptocurrency, because they don't want uh, to be recognized by FBI or whatever. Okay, after you pay, they will send you the decryption code. This is how ransomwares affect your system.
Thanks for that, Babak. Firuzi, can you go on to the next slide?
So rootkits, yeah, here rootkits are, let's say, the worst malwares that can be found outside. Rootkit can be a very good thing for admins, for network admins, because it is a remote access tool in nature. But when it comes to bad intention, rootkits can sit in your kernel files, in your kernel level of your operating system. So when you're, for instance, when you boot up your computer, when you uh, make your computer booting, some actions are being done at the booting level. Those actions are out of your control, but rootkits can control and can sit at those levels. So finding them are very, very hard, and interacting with them is very hard for the antiviruses. So let's say rootkits mostly are used by uh, apt groups, advanced persistent groups. Those apt groups are, let's say, elite hackers of a government or of a country that they have a very large sources, programmers, hackers, and they work on a rootkit, for instance, 5 years in order to program a rootkit. Rootkits are just like rats, remote administration tools. But as I said, they have bad intentions, and they can sit even on your hardware device, on your BIOS of your CPU. Okay, so you cannot detect them. You cannot do anything with them. Even if you change your operating system, again rootkits will be loaded from BIOS system. It needs a specialist in order to remove it from your system.
So in our demo, we will be showing you all a rat and how it's used, right, Babak?
Yes, of course, we will show them a real world attack. i will i
Yes.
will i will attack you, Merzat, your system, if you let me.
Definitely.
So stay tuned till the end because we are going to be showing you a live attack on how this malware can actually attack you individually. I think moving on, do you want to just quickly talk about, because these are very technical terms. So do we need to talk about what these rootkits are, or just a very
Yeah,
high
I
level
want I
overview?
want to put some comments here on this slide. So look here, rootkits can be kernel rootkits, which I told you about it, can be firmware rootkits, which can sit in your operating system firmware softwares. Okay, for instance, you have some files like svchost.exe on your operating system. They can sit on that file, bind to that file, and change the signature of that file, and they stay over there forever until you change your operating system.
Yeah.
They can be application rootkits, which will use applications, legitimate applications, and they can use hardware as well, bootkits, which I told you about it.
Right. Yeah.
Next slide. So spywares, as the word says, spy software. Okay, so they try to spy on your system, just like keyloggers, just like different kind of things that we mentioned. Of course, those kind of malwares can spy too. When they infect you, they can do whatever they want. Okay, but spywares are specially for spying your system, taking out information, do what you are doing, monitoring your actions on your system. Can we go to next? Do you have any question until now? We can answer some of the questions if they have.
Yeah, so there are a lot of questions that have come up if you want to answer them. So the first one is, when you spoke about the network and VPN, why is my network getting slow when I use VPN? He wanted to know. So if people use the VPNs, why does it slow down the network?
Yes, of course, because are virtual private networks which sits between your requests and the server. So it is like you are requesting the VPN provider server, and then they are requesting the VPN server. Again, they get the answer and send the response to you. So it makes your network slower. But when you're using VPN, try to use those countries around you. Some of the VPNs has lighting connection. It means that they try to find the fastest server for your location.
Right.
Right. There's another question that has come up also, and they wanted to know, how does carding work?
So carding is, uh, let's say carding is using stolen credit cards in order to buy something for yourself. In very easy explanation, okay? So they try to fish you by phishing emails, or they try after infection. For example, when botnet infect your system, they will monitor your requests, or they log your keys on your keyboard. When you write down, when there is a box on the browser which is called CVV, for example, they try to get what you send. So they will try to log your credit card number, your CVV, your expiry date, and then they will send it to this attacker. Attacker will use those information alongside your name, whatever they have gathered up from your system, in order to buy something for themselves, okay, by your credit card.
But today, Babak, buying online and shopping online, e-commerce industry is a big industry, right? And everybody who's buying online have to put their credit card details with the CVV number. So how do people protect themselves against that?
Very good question. Thank you. So if you are going to buy something online, you should try to read about that website before taking action. For example, you can try to read the comments if it is a legitimate website or not, or at least let's say use a credit card for yourself, use virtual credit card, okay?
Hmm.
So you don't have much money in that virtual credit card. If someone steals information and buy from that, you for example, you have $100 just
Hmm.
in, okay, you are not exposed to a big risk of losing money.
Right. So the next question is, can hackers use cookies to hack into your system? And are there any scanners today to scan bad cookies? I think it's a very intelligent question.
Can you ask it again?
Can hackers use cookies to hack into your system? That's the first question. Can they hack into your system using cookies? And if so, are there any applications or apps available that you can scan the cookies itself?
Let me answer it. Yes, hackers can steal your cookie very easily, but they cannot infect all your system. We have something, we call it privilege escalation. When you hack someone, you should try to escalate your privilege. So your privilege by a cookie is just in the browser, in the sandbox of the browser. So you cannot access the system itself. You don't have shell, or you don't have you haven't any authority of the system. There are some exploits, of course, zero-day exploits, or some other exploits that you can use them. For example, let me say we are on Kali Linux. We are using B framework. We have stolen cookies, but until the user, the client, doesn't interact with us, until he downloads something, he runs something that we offer on the browser, nothing will happen to the whole of the system. But if I have your cookie, of course, I can steal your account. For example, if I have the cookie of your Gmail account, I can steal it. I can log in with your Gmail account, even if you
And
have open authentication enabled, even.
okay, and the second half of the question was, are there any apps where you can actually scan these to make sure that your cookies are not stolen or whatever? Is there any app that we can use to
Yes, of
scan
course.
these?
Again, there is no need for for such an app. Of course, there are some apps, but
Okay.
there is no need. If you have antivirus, a fully updated antivirus, the antivirus has a browser integration which can understand if you are losing your cookies to someone or not.
Okay, all right. And the next question is, how do you check that the received link, because today we are receiving links all the time, right? Click here to register, click here to download, click here to view, click here to do this. So how do you make sure that the links that you're receiving are safe or not?
So there are some websites you can put your link before visiting that link. They will tell you if it is legitimate or not, but it is experimental. When you hover your mouse over a link, you will see something at the bottom of your browser. Notice if that is exactly the domain name that you are going to serve. That is very important.
Right. And the next question is, how can you keep yourself safe from stolen data cache from my browser? So basically, it's, I think, the same thing, that if people are trying to steal your data using your
Uh,
browser, how can you protect yourself?
so protecting yourself against malwares are not just a simple explanation. Yes, of course, 90% you have protect yourself by updated antiviruses. But I cannot say 100%. There are many ways that they can bypass it. They can target you. We will have another webinar for that if guys are interested in that.
All right. And the next question is, cryptocurrency users are trackable. It's a question. Are users trackable? And how can one get tracked while using cryptocurrency?
We have only the zero confirmation, let's say a few cryptocurrencies that are not trackable. Yes, we can track any payment by Bitcoin in the blockchain, of course, but we don't know who owns them, okay? Who is the owner of that wallet address? But we can track, of course, if someone knows that this wallet address is for Firuzis, for example, they can track how much you have paid to someone and where you have paid. But if we want to say, if you want not to be trackable, you should use Monero and Zcash, zero coin. Monero is most popular between dark web guys when they want to do something. Yeah.
Right. There's another question. Somebody saying that I've heard that Apple devices are less prone to such attacks. Is that
No,
true?
not
And if
at
so,
all.
yes.
Not at all. It is being said, to our experience, real world hackers are hacking anything. Not at all.
Right. Okay. And I think, Mez, there's a next question to you. I think somebody is asking about hiding. Where's it gone? Oops. Okay. I can't see the question. I think the question was to you. It's all right. No worries. Okay. So should we just continue? Because there are many questions coming in. I think we'll
Oh,
finish the
yes.
presentation and take
So
on the
let
next
me
question.
talk about Trojans. What are
Yes.
Trojans? Trojans are those kind of rats. Rats are kind of malwares again. So remote administration tools, which helps hackers to control all your system, not only your browser, and which is exactly what we are going to show audience at the end with the demo.
Right.
These malwares must be installed by an interaction of the clients. So if clients doesn't reply, if clients doesn't run something, rats cannot be used by hackers. There are other ways, of course, that we can deliver the client a malicious software without interaction. But it is out of our session now. Okay. Uh, Let me just example it. Zero-day exploits are used in order to deliver malwares without the interaction. Okay, zero-day exploits, and that is why they are very expensive, millions of dollars. Okay, so again, viruses are another kind of malware. And the only difference is that viruses will replicate themselves. For instance, if you run an infected USB program, which you have plugged your USB and run the program that is infected by a virus, the virus will try to replicate itself, will try to attach itself to another files on the system. And as soon as you understand, you will see that all of the files of your system, exe files, for example, portable executable files of your system or DLL files of your system gets infected. It cannot let's say viruses cannot replicate themselves without the interaction of user again. So it needs you to run the first infected file, then they will reflect themselves, replicate themselves.
So what's the difference between virus and worms? Because when I talk to a lot of corporates, I realize that most of them are aware of virus, but not many people are aware of something called the
So
worms.
worms again, like rootkits, are horrible for IT admins. Why? Because worms are using zero-day exploits in order to replicate themselves. Okay, so as I mentioned, viruses needs your interaction, but worms doesn't need your interaction at all. They will use an exploit. They will use some codes in order to exploit your vulnerabilities in your operating system in order to replicate themselves. Also, they can replicate themselves throughout the network. Okay,
Right.
viruses can do that too, but worms will use network mostly. So
Right.
I just wanted to mention very important thing. Although we have mentioned 10 kinds of malwares, but those kind of malwares, any of them, can be mixed up with other kinds. So we call it hybrid malware. Okay,
Right.
they are polymorphic. What is polymorphic? If I want to technically explain polymorphic in viruses and malwares, let me take an example for you. So HIV virus, we all have heard about HIV virus.
Yes.
HIV virus can change the shape of itself and replicate itself again. So when we are trying to defend that virus will change the shape of itself. This is exactly happening in computer malware programming. They can program something, they can use encryptions in order to change the shape and the signature of the software. So every time antivirus wants to detect, cannot detect that renewed malware.
Right. So what does that mean to the consumers, to the businesses, to the individuals, and just basically what are the threats that we're looking at in 2021 then, given all
Let's
that?
say 2 days, we cannot say that there are much differences. Now that many people are using cryptocurrencies, many people are using online payments. Botnets are trying to attack individuals as well. So they can hijack your wallet address, or they can use keylogger in order to find out what is your private key. They can hijack your copy paste clipboard. Okay, we call it clip hijacker. So for let's say once happened to one of my friends. Even he was an IT guy. He were to send some bitcoins, not much, but 3 bitcoins I think, to one of his friends. His friend sent the wallet address via Telegram. He copied that into clipboard, Control C, and pasted it. And he was saying that I pressed send, and it sent. But my friend asked me, "You haven't sent it yet." I told, "What?" And when he checked out, he understood that wallet address in the clipboard has been changed to the attacker wallet address. We call it clip clipper hijacking. Okay, so
Interesting.
very easily 3 bitcoins were sent to the hacker. Very easily. Imagine that was an individual person. What
Right.
happens when you have thousands of infected individuals?
True, true.
At
So
least
even
100
copying
of
and
them are
pasting data is
using
not safe.
cryptocurrency, yeah? And at least this happens to them.
Right. Even copying and pasting data today is not safe on your laptop, yeah?
Yes, nothing is safe.
Okay. All right. So I think in the interest of time, I think we've spoken about malware and the common threats around it. Is there anything else that we need to talk about regarding malware
Yes,
delivery
just
methods?
there are some methods for delivering. As I said, for many of the malwares, let's say 95% of malwares need interaction of the client. So
Right.
how we do it, how hackers do it, they try to send a spoofed email. We call it spoofing email.
Right.
Uh, the email comes on behalf of a legitimate company to you, asking
Right.
to do something. For instance, from LinkedIn, we send a legitimate like email to you, asking you to download this patch for your browser. As soon as you download and run it, we will take control of all of your system.
Correct.
And even if you check the email, we will have a webinar for that, for the phishing, for sure.
Right. Right.
And we will have a course for how to fish someone in real world, how to send phishing attacks.
So our phishing webinar
So if try
is
to,
actually next week.
sorry,
Just so everybody knows, our phishing webinar
oh,
for,
that's soon.
yeah, it's next week. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I was saying that we can send an email on behalf of LinkedIn. If you check the email domain, everything is okay. It is linkedin.com, and you cannot understand even what is happening. You just download something, you just click on something, and that's done, finished. Your computer is infected. So through emails, most of the delivery of malware are done through emails.
All right. Okay. So what I wanted to do is, first of all, thank you, Babak, for all of that. I think we have a lot of questions on the Q&A. Mez, do you want to just answer a few Q&A questions? What we'll do is, in the interest of time, because we do want to show you a live phishing attack, and then we want to talk to
No,
you
no, no,
about what malware
live
attack.
malware attack.
Malware
Yeah.
attack. And then we'll take on a few more questions at the end. And Mez, you want to just take on the few selected ones?
So we have a question. How does the dark web exactly work? We actually have a webinar for this in the next 2 weeks. The registration links will be sent across.
So I can
Follow us.
shortly answer that. So let's say first Tor project was made for military purposes. When they made that, they were thinking of making something that encrypts every request and send between their nodes. So what is a node? A node, it can be you as a user. A node can be an IoT device, Internet of Things, or other devices as well. So when you are in the dark web, when you are using Tor browser, for example, you are connecting to another individual somewhere else that is running Tor browser on his system. And through that, you are connecting to another place. So when you, for example, and let me mention that all the websites that are on the dark web, they are on the individual devices. It's just like me at home run a server for the dark web and bring up a website. So when you click when you surf your Tor browser, you use onion.onion URL address, you are connecting to my system, not connecting to an organization system. Okay,
Right.
that is exactly what happens in the Tor network. And because it is encrypted, it is safe, but not safe much. Again, we have vulnerabilities for dark web as well. So I have put an article about hacking dark web website also on my
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Okay, how you can hack dark web, how you can scan dark web website for vulnerabilities. So there is no place that you can say I am 100% safe.
Right. Okay. So look, we do have a lot more questions coming up. We need to also get into the live demo because that's what we've promised our audience. Before we go into the live demo, what I just wanted to do is, for those who are still online, because we have a huge set of audience who are online and who are also tuned in live, we are actually running practical workshops for all of you to learn how to actually do these hacking. So they often say that to catch a criminal, you need to think like a criminal. correct? And so to understand how criminals actually think and what they actually do, we have practical workshops. So the workshops are not going to be theory, they're going to be practical, where we will show you, tell you what to do, how to do, what not to do, and then obviously how to secure yourselves, right? So these
And
obviously course.
of course, sorry, we are not responsible for what you do. We are just showing
Yes,
you the real world attack scenario in order to understand how to defend yourself, okay? How to
yes,
protect yourself.
exactly.
We are not responsible for whatever action you take from that.
No, no, we are just going to show you how criminals actually behave in the real world. These courses, if you go online, they are worth thousands of dollars. If you come to ProteqMe, we sell these courses offline for almost $492. What I'd like to do is, just for the sake of people who've made time today to come to our session, we are going to offer you a very, very special price of just $99.99. And what I'm going to do is, and that's only for people who are on the session and who can book now. I'm going to put a link in the chat box, all right, for everybody to click and go make the payment. So for those who will register now, will get it for $99. Anybody who will register later through our website will end up paying the $492, which is our actual cost, right? So the link is on the chat box, in the chat box. For those who are interested in attending these practical workshops, it's a special price only for the next 10 to 15 minutes while Babak and Mezar are going to do the live attack, right? So we are going to show you how the live attack actually works. And in a practical workshop, we will actually make you do it to get you to get the feel of it as to what really a live attack feels like and looks like. All right. So Mez, over to you, and Babak, over to you for the live phishing attack. For those who want to
Okay,
register
can I
now,
share my screen?
okay.
Babak, could
For
you
those
send
who
me
want to
the
register, yeah.
Sorry?
yeah. Could you send me the exe file so that I can download it?
So while we set up the live attack, for those who want to avail of the special price, please go to the chat box. There is a link over there which you can click and directly book your,
No,
reserve your spot.
wait. Yeah, how it is done by. So, Can you see my?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, I'm going to use a remote access tool, which is called async-rat. I'm going to hack Merzad's system, okay? So what I need to do is to make a client in order to deliver. If you remember, I said we as a hacker should deliver something to the client in order to interact with, okay?
Right.
So I will use my IP addresses. All of these options will be displayed on the course. How you make port forwarding for your system in real world, how you can hack someone outside of your LAN, local area network. And of course, we are doing it outside of LAN. So my IP address differs to Merzad IP address. He's in another country. Okay, I can have different kind of options like install, changing the group, anti-analysis, or whatever. And I will make the client here. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we
I
can.
think, am I?
You're
Okay.
audible. You're
I
audible.
thought I'm not audible.
No, you are.
So look, I'm going to make it here, which I have made it before. So I need to send this file, which is my client, and it is only 45 kilobytes, as you can see here. I need to send this file to Merzad in a way and convince him to run it on his system, okay? For example, I will go here to my Telegram. I will tell him, Merzad, please run this file. I have sent it before to his system, okay? We will show these steps by step on our course. So Merzad, can you please download it and run it on your system? I will stop sharing.
Sure.
No. Look, run it on your system. Just run it on your system. The file that I sent you via the link. That link you can download, or you can.
Could you send me the XE file instead of the link?
Okay, sure. Let me send it here. So what I'm doing, I'm sending this malware to Merzad here. And for example, I say, please run this patch for the game. Okay. I think you have it, Mirza.
Yes. Could you check if it's been done?
Bandwidth is somehow very slow because I'm connected to the VPS.
No worries. Okay, so I've downloaded it. Could you just check if it's been connected?
Just let me mute my video.
Sure.
Okay, can you see now my screen?
Yes, we can.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can,
Yes.
Babak.
Hello?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
we
can.
can.
Okay, look at here. Okay, look at here. Can you see? This is the system of Mirza. As soon as he clicked on my system here, which has different IP from his system came up. So I can do whatever I want with his system. I can do keylogging, password recovery, file manager. For example, let me go to file manager, not password recovery, because intentionally he let me do that. So the password comes up. Look at here, it has 2 drives. And I can click the drive, I can do whatever. Yeah,
Right.
look,
Yeah, I can
just
see
a
it.
second. Yeah. So I can do, oh shit, I closed it. Let me open up it, okay.
So basically you have access, right? And you can do whatever you want. What's really cool
A
here is
complete
the
access.
USB, right? Could you show the
Yeah,
participants the
just
USB?
the only thing needed from a hacker is to convince you run that file. That's it. There are some other tricks. We can bind the file to another files. We
Yeah.
can do something else. For example, we can change the extension of the file. Look here now. For instance, I can spread via your USB. I can do whatever. Is it okay if I use your web camera?
No, of course. Yeah, go ahead.
So look at here, guys. Oh, if your camera is on by Zoom, I cannot use it.
Let me just put it off. Okay, done.
Put it off. So guys, look. It takes a little time. Sorry for my bandwidth, but it comes up. Can you see
Oh
it?
my God. Oh my God. I can actually see see Mehzad and everything behind him, even though his camera is off the back. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So
It's
look at here. I
unbelievable.
can send a message to my victim. I can encrypt his file. I can do whatever I want. Look, I can
Oh my
send
God.
file to his memory, to disk. I can monitor his key logging. I can do process explorer to see what processes are running on his system. I just brought up the process. So I can, for example, disable the antiviruses on his system if he's running. Look, these are processes
Yeah.
that he's running in his system.
So one of the questions is that if we have an antivirus, are we safe? So the answer would be a no, right? Because once the hacker gets
Yes
into your
or no?
system,
Look, again, in the course, I'm going to tell, because it is a real world hacking. So in
right?
real world hackers, let's say black hat hackers, are using some of obfuscation, code obfuscation to bypass antivirus. It is not answering 100% most of the time, but it's answering 99%.
All
Right.
right.
Okay, I
Uh,
can send a message. And can you show your screen after sending this message?
Sure. Yeah.
this
Okay,
is incredible, incredible. It's so scary, Babak. It's so scary.
okay,
Yeah, so I got this message. Let me just share my entire screen actually.
yeah, please.
Is it visible?
Yeah, hello Mirza, I pawn your system.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. It's a very simple, but in the course we will go through details. Let me turn on my video. Oh, the host doesn't. I cannot turn on my video for some reasons. Why? Anyway,
All right. So, Babak, let's wind up very
okay,
quickly
now,
because we've shared the link for people to register. So, for those who really want to, there is a question over here saying, can you provide a roadmap to become an ethical hacker? So, anybody who wants any kinds of roadmaps and wants practical hands on, I've put the link in our chat. It's a special price only for people on the session today. The course is only worth $99, right? And that's a very practical session where we will actually teach you things. Like Babak said, how you use it is your problem. We're not responsible. But anybody who wants to become an ethical hacker, wants to know the techniques, then you can register for our course and you can learn it over there. The next question, Babak, is how to find malware connections and Trojans running in background through networks.
okay, so first question, becoming an ethical hacker is not just about system hacking. It's about website penetration testing or website application hacking. It's about network hacking. So there is a long way through becoming an ethical hacker. But at least if you want to start, you can start by web application hacking, website hacking, okay? if
Right,
if we if we have request, we can run a full course of it, because I am the technical reviewer of the book Becoming the Hacker also. So
right.
it was published on 2019 on PactiPub. Anyway, for your second question, of course there are monitoring traffic analyzing tools,
Hmm.
okay?
Hmm.
And we have different kind of those tools. Even we have free monitoring tools on the GitHub, which is written by Python scripting, okay,
Hmm.
with Python language.
Right,
So we have Wireshark as well, which admin ITs will use, mostly use Wireshark in order to monitor the network, and they can understand what is going out, what is coming down, what protocol, what ports are engaging in the transmission of data. So Yes, and if again, a simple way is to use an updated uh, premium antivirus, because those antiviruses that works throughout the network are premium packages.
Yeah.
Right. The next question over here is, what are the what precautions should people take while performing UPI payments?
For what payments?
I don't know what it means. It says UPI payments. So the person who's actually typing it out, can you type out the full form for what you mean by UPI payments? It says UPI payments.
Okay, I know that some different payments, for example, NFC reader payments or remote payments or any kind of payments, it depends on the device that you're using. For instance, if you're using a QR code reader, okay, that's very important to first see if that QR URL or that QR content is legitimate or not, because
Right.
hackers, yeah.
So the person has clarified it, saying when he means by UPI payment, he means like online transactions from money sending from one account to another.
So again, you are using your system or you are using a public system. It depends.
QR code. They are
If
saying, what if we use the QR code?
yeah, if you are using, for example, a QR code, that's very important to read it before the action, before using your payment application in order to pay. Read that QR code with a QR code reader to understand what is the content of that QR code. Then you can understand if it is legitimate, if the URL is okay, if the name is okay.
Right.
Right.
Okay, and we have one last question. I don't have a laptop, so can I hack with a mobile phone?
It depends on your mobile phone. If it is Android, if it is iPhone, it differs again. If it is Android, yeah, we have Termux,
Yeah.
which you can install and simulate a Linux environment like Kali Linux on your mobile phone, but it needs your mobile phone have at least 8 GB of RAM if you want to work really serious with it, and at least a new mobile phone, I mean, an updated hardware mobile phone.
Right. Okay, so that's it from our side. We have two more webinars lined up. One is on next Saturday for live phishing attacks, and the one after that, the Saturday after that, is for the dark web. So everything you need to know about the dark web and really getting hands-on with the dark web. All right. The content of this entire webinar will be shared. The PDF explaining everything in detail will be shared, but we need your help for that. We need you all to tag us on social media. We're on LinkedIn, Twitter,
Yeah, if I
Instagram.
wanted to mention, if anyone has a question, yeah, you're
Please,
free to come to our LinkedIn. You can ask your question. We will be happy to answer. No worries.
yeah, please reach out to us. We will be happy to help and answer anybody. And if you like this, please share it, tag us, and we will send you the free copy with all the content reviewed in this presentation. All right, so tag
Please,
us, and yeah, we will send everything across.
we'll send
All
the
right.
link, registration link, only to the participants of this session. Also for those who want to register for our live hacking workshops. Hands-on.
All right. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Babak. Thank you,
Thank
Firozi.
you very much.
Thank you, team, and thank you all for your time and your efforts around the questions that you've sent in the chat and the Q&A. For the ones that we were not able to answer, we will answer on our LinkedIn page. So please look out for those questions. We will answer each of those on our LinkedIn page, right? So follow us and see you
On
there.
Instagram, wherever we're on all social medias majorly. All right. So reach out to us, tag us in your stories, and we will get back to you. All right. Thank you so much. Have a
Thank
Thank
great
you
day.
very
you.
much.
Thank
Take
you,
care
Babak.
of
Thanks, guys.
yourself.
Thank you all.